Ted Bundy entered the world under a cloud of secrecy on November 24, 1946, at the Elizabeth Lund Home for Unwed Mothers in Burlington, Vermont. His mother, Eleanor Louise Cole, had traveled there from Philadelphia to hide her pregnancy. A decision shaped by the rigid moral expectations of the era. No father was listed on the birth certificate, and Louise never gave a definitive answer about who he was. Rumors circulated for decades, some pointing to a man named Lloyd Marshall, others to a veteran calling himself Jack Worthington, and darker whispers suggesting Bundy's own grandfather. None of these possibilities were ever confirmed, leaving Bundy's origins permanently tangled in uncertainty. For the first years of his life, Bundy lived in Philadelphia with his mother and grandparents, Samuel and Eleanor Cowell. The household was strict, religious, and emotionally cold. Bundy was raised to believe his mother was his sister, a deception that would fracture his sense of identity as he grew older. Samuel Cowell, the man Bundy believed was his father, was known for violent outbursts, cruelty toward animals, and explosive temper. Louise, quiet and deeply religious, lived under her father's authority, and Bundy absorbed the tension of a home built on secrets and fear. In 1950, Louise abruptly moved Ted across the country to Tacoma, Washington, where she married a hospital cook named Johnny Culpepper Bundy. Johnny adopted Ted, giving him the surname that would later become infamous. But Ted never accepted him as a father. He kept emotional distance, refused to bond, and later referred to him simply as John. Never Dad. Johnny tried to include Ted in family activities, but Ted preferred isolation, spending long hours alone, wandering the neighborhood or retreating into his own imagination. As a child, Bundy was intelligent, observant, and socially withdrawn. Teachers described him as polite but detached. He excelled academically and enjoyed skiing, a sport that gave him a sense of control and independence. Yet beneath the surface, Bundy struggled with feelings he could not articulate. He sensed the lie about his parentage long before Louise admitted it, and the revelation that she was his mother, not his sister, struck him deeply. The betrayal shaped his early understanding of relationships, trust, and identity. During adolescence, Bundy's behavior grew more troubling. He developed voyeuristic habits, peering into windows at night. He stole items from neighbors' homes, not for necessity, but for the thrill. He became fascinated with violent pornography, a fixation he later claimed fueled his fantasies. Despite these red flags, Bundy maintained the appearance of a quiet, well-behaved teenager. He learned early how to present one version of himself to the world while hiding another entirely. After high school, Bundy attended the University of Puget Sound before transferring to the University of Washington. He studied psychology, a field that fascinated him, and he performed well academically. He became politically active, volunteering for the Nelson Rockefeller presidential campaign and later working for the Washington State Republican Party. He impressed colleagues with his intelligence, charm, and ability to read people. To many, he seemed destined for a successful career in law or politics. During this period, Bundy entered a relationship with a woman often identified as Stephanie Brooks. She was elegant, wealthy, and represented the life Bundy desperately wanted. When she ended the relationship, citing his immaturity and lack of direction, Bundy was devastated. the rejection became a turning point. He withdrew from friends, dropped out of school, and drifted aimlessly. Years later, when he had rebuilt his life and regained confidence, he rekindled the relationship only to abruptly abandon her without explanation. The emotional manipulation foreshadowed the control he would later exert over his victims. By the early 1970s, Bundy appeared to have regained stability. He returned to the University of Washington, excelled in his studies, and worked at a crisis hotline center, where co-workers described him as empathetic and calm. He volunteered for political campaigns, attended law school, and cultivated an image of ambition and reliability. But beneath this facade, his violent fantasies were intensifying. Bundy later admitted that he had been committing burglaries and assaults long before his first known murder. In 1974, young women began disappearing across Washington and Oregon. The first suspected victim, a woman in her early 20s, vanished from her basement apartment in Seattle, leaving behind bloodstains and signs of a struggle. Over the following months, more women disappeared, all young, all attractive, all resembling Bundy's former girlfriend. Witnesses reported seeing a man with his arm in a sling or using crutches, asking for help loading items into his Volkswagen Beetle. Bundy used charm, vulnerability, and authority as tools, luring victims into situations where they felt safe. Once he had them in his car, Bundy struck them with a crowbar or blunt object, handcuffed them, and drove them to remote locations. There, he raped and murdered them, often returning to the bodies repeatedly. He later admitted to performing sexual acts with the corpses until decomposition made it impossible. Bundy's ability to maintain a normal life while committing these crimes baffled investigators. He attended classes, volunteered, dated, and maintained friendships, all while killing with increasing frequency. By mid-1974, Bundy expanded his hunting grounds to Utah, Idaho, and Colorado. His victims included college students, hitchhikers, and women he encountered in public places. He adapted his methods to avoid detection, sometimes impersonating police officers or authority figures. Investigators across multiple states struggled to connect the cases, hindered by limited communication between jurisdictions and the absence of centralized databases. Bundy's first major arrest occurred in August 1975, when a Utah police officer stopped him for suspicious behavior. Inside his car, officers found handcuffs, a ski mask, a crowbar, and other items associated with the attacks. Bundy was charged with aggravated kidnapping and attempted assault. As investigators dug deeper, they linked him to unsolved homicides in multiple states. Bundy faced mounting evidence and impending murder charges in Colorado. In 1977, Bundy executed two dramatic escapes. The first occurred in a courthouse library, where he jumped from a second-story window while left unshackled. He was recaptured days later. The second escape was far more calculated. Bundy starved himself to fit through a small hole in the ceiling of his cell, climbed into the crawlspace, and dropped into the jailer's apartment. He walked out the front door wearing civilian clothes. This escape allowed him to flee to Florida, where he unleashed one of the most brutal attacks of his career. On January 15, 1978, Bundy broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University. He attacked 4 women, killing two and severely injuring the others. His violence was frenzied, impulsive, and far more chaotic than his earlier crimes. Weeks later, he abducted and murdered a 12-year-old girl named Kimberly Leach. These crimes finally led to his permanent capture in February 1978. Bundy's Florida trials became national media spectacles. Cameras filled the courtroom, reporters swarmed the hallways, and Bundy reveled in the attention. He acted as his own attorney, cross-examined witnesses, and performed for the cameras. During the trial, he married Carol Ann Boone, a woman who believed in his innocence and later bore his child. Despite his theatrics, Bundy was convicted of multiple murders and received 3 death sentences. Bundy spent nearly a decade on death row. He wrote letters, gave interviews, and maintained his innocence for years. He described his daily routine in prison, comparing his experience to that of Gandhi, a disturbing contrast to the brutality of his crimes. As his execution date approached, Bundy began confessing to murders he had long denied. He admitted to killing at least 30 women, though investigators believe the true number may be far higher. On January 24, 1989, Bundy was executed by electrocution at Florida State Prison. He was 42 years old. Outside the prison, crowds cheered as the news was announced. Inside, Bundy's final moments were calm, almost detached, a stark contrast to the violence that defined his life. Bundy's legacy reshaped the way law enforcement investigates serial crimes. His case helped introduce computer systems to track suspects across state lines, and his ability to blend into society forced psychologists to reconsider how predators present themselves. Bundy remains a symbol of the hidden killer, the charming man who appears safe, intelligent, and trustworthy. His story endures not because of fascination, but because it reveals how easily evil can disguise itself behind a friendly face. This is the kind of content the File Archive is all about. If that's your thing, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Next Monday, same time, same channel.